Chapter 3. The Freedom Dividend. Without the freedom to make mistakes, people cannot learn to take control of their lives successfully.
Now, one of the answers, it seems to me, is a guaranteed annual income, a guaranteed minimum income for all people and for all families of our country. It seems to me that the civil rights movement must now begin to organize for the guaranteed annual income, begin to organize people all over our country and mobilize forces so that we can bring to the attention of our nation this need and this something which I believe will go a long, long way toward dealing with the Negro's economic problem and the economic problem which many other poor people confront in our nation.
Don't feel guilty. There will be many people who believe that you don't need a basic income and that government handouts make you lazy. The evidence is in the numbers. More and more working Americans are going to need some type of welfare assistance, especially as automation picks up. I would like to begin by showing you an article from LexingtonLaw.com. Welfare in the workforce. Although welfare programs are commonly argued to support the lazy, data does not show this to be true. In the current state, welfare programs predominantly help Americans who receive low wages. The UC Berkeley Labor Center discovered that welfare program participation is higher for Americans receiving minimum wages. On average, 39% of women receiving aid to families with dependent children benefits were also employed. $152.8 billion is spent each year in the United States on welfare programs to support working families with low wages. 52% of fast food workers with at least one family member rely on at least one poverty assistance program. 6.7% of full-time workers participated in one or more means-tested assistance program. Although a $1 trillion a year budget may seem large at first glance, the current welfare program, consisting of 79 separate programs supporting 21% of Americans, puts the large problem of poverty into perspective. Without any government safety nets, those living in poverty would not have the proper help to survive or tools to get back on their feet. With a rise in credit card debt across America, it is still important to find a solution to pull the citizens living paycheck to paycheck out of poverty. As noted, credit card debt is rising. Wonder why? When the people living paycheck to paycheck can't afford an unexpected bill, what do? You guessed it, they open up a line of credit to pay for their needs. This gets them into deeper trouble, and unfortunately many don't know how to break this cycle. Similar to how the banks fucked up during the 2008 recession and we had to bail them out. Difference is, the government isn't bailing out the average citizen the same way they did the oligarchs. So, what can an extra $1,000 a month do for you? Yes, you, the average American citizen working multiple jobs just to try and keep food on the table, working hard to get ahead in life even though the odds are against you, working meaningless jobs that cause you unnecessary suffering, or the American who currently has no job and doesn't have the basic resources to get themselves back on their feet and ready to get work, the American who can't negotiate a living wage because they are so broke they have to accept shitty pay these employers offer. So this is the beginning of all the positives a basic income would bring. Let me go further. Imagine an economy where the employers are fighting hard to hire employees instead of the other way around. Imagine an economy where the average American can now negotiate better pay when applying for jobs. This would be an economy that works for the people and not just for the business. The current federal minimum wage is not a living wage, so these companies that make millions shouldn't be allowed to pay anyone that wants to work anything less than a living wage. What's a living wage? Well, it depends on the state, city, or county you live in. Some places are more affordable than others, and this should be considered. That's why I believe raising the federal minimum wage isn't going to be equal for everyone nationwide. For example, comparing California and Texas, raising the minimum wage in Texas to $15 an hour would be life-changing since as of May of 2019, the minimum wage is $7.25 and things aren't as expensive. Getting a home in Texas is much cheaper than California. California's minimum wage would be increasing from $10.50 to $15. This wouldn't make things much better since the cost of living is extremely high. Getting back to my earlier point, how would a person applying for a job be able to negotiate better pay if they have a guaranteed basic income of $1,000 a month? Think about the amount of stress that will be lifted from people's shoulders. If an employer wants to pay them the minimum wage, sure, they can take it. But why not negotiate this amount to meet your needs better? You don't have to worry about living in the streets. The government is finally looking out for you. The government is finally saying, no more bailing out corruption. Time to give back to our people. How much more would you love your country if the country is finally doing something for me instead of tax breaks for corporations? I can feel more safe. They are actually looking out for me. I would finally feel proud and die for my country knowing that they will look out after my kids even after I'm gone. How many beautiful American soldiers fought and died for their country for nothing? They may have left a death gratuity, but that isn't enough when they are leaving their kids behind to a corrupted government.